All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It is that time of the week, folks. My key games for the upcoming weekend in the world of college football. And there are plenty of key games for this weekend, as like I'm titling it, it's basically Separation Saturday here in the month of December. The meat and potatoes of the college football slate is here as we are getting into the conference battles. And of course, these conference battles are going to go a very long way in determining who wins these respective leagues as well as who gets to the college football playoff. Matter of fact, four games this Saturday between ranked teams. So at the end of the day, let's buckle up and let's get it on because I think this is going to be a very, very intriguing Saturday and Friday, weekend for that matter, in the world of college football. And I want to get things started tomorrow night in the ACC, where you have eighth ranked Florida State traveling to Charlottesville to take on Virginia. And of course, this is the ACC opener for the Seminoles, who do appear to be back on track after that two-win season in 2024. You look at what former Boston College quarterback Tommy Castellanos has brought to this Florida State offense, as well as wide receiver Deuce Robinson. Now, on the flip side for Virginia, will we see them be able to pull off another upset like they did 30 years ago? You remember, if anybody remembers, going back, I do. It was a Thursday night game against a Seminoles team that was ranked in the top five, and Virginia was able to hold them off at home. Let's see if they have some magic in them tomorrow. I look at quarterback Chandler Morris. I look at running back Jamari Taylor. They're going to need to have big games, as is wide receiver Terrell Harris. I like what Virginia has been doing on defense so far under head coach Tony Elliott, with the likes of linebacker Landon Danley as well as Daniel Rickard and his ability to get to the quarterback from that D line. You look at Florida State, they come into this contest favored by 6.5, and they're going to have to pack a lunch tomorrow night. I think they get the win, but it won't be easy, as I'm going to take the Noles on the road by the score of 30-24. Now, tomorrow night as well in the Big 12 Conference, you have 24th ranked TCU traveling to Tempe to take on the defending Big 12 champs in Arizona State. The Sun Devils come into this contest favored by 3.5 points. And of course, both of these teams have eyes on winning the Big 12 this year. TCU quarterback Josh Hoover has been solid so far this season. I look at the playmaking ability of wide receiver Eric McAllister, and then this horned frog defense, which includes safety Jamel Johnson. What are they going to do against this ASU offense? The Sun Devils look like they have put that upset loss to Mississippi State behind them. Quarterback Sam Levitt, you know what? This kid has got a lot of moxie. I love the play of wide receiver Jordan Tyson. And at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, is he the best pass catcher in the country? You look at this Sun Devils defense with linebackers Jordan Crook and Keyshawn Elliott, and already, excuse me, Arizona State has 13 sacks this season. The Sun Devils come in favored by 3.5. The over under is 54.5. I'm going to take Arizona State by 4 in this one, 34-30. Now, moving on to Saturday. Okay, we've got the 21st ranked Trojans out of the University of Southern Cal traveling to Champaign to take on 23rd ranked Illinois. For the men of Troy, they come into this contest favored by 6.5 for this noon start in the Big Ten Conference. And after things unraveled real quickly for USC last year, they look different so far. And you have to wonder if they're ready to be a player this year in the Big Ten race. And this is an important game right here for the men of Troy. Why? Because 3 out of their next 4 are going to be on the road. Quarterback Jaden Mayava has been solid for USC this year. The Trojans have been running the football effectively, with running back Wayman Jordan, and then I like what they are getting out of wide receiver Makai Lemon. And when you think about Lincoln Riley, you think about offense, but his Trojans are playing defense this year. 16 sacks so far by the men of Troy, and you look at safety Bishop Fitzgerald as well as linebacker Eric Gentry. They're going to have something to say about this game if USC gets the win. Now, for the Illini, they've got to put that beat down behind them. They went to Bloomington last Saturday night, and they got taken behind the woodshed, courtesy of Indiana. Can Illinois and Brett Bielema get back on track? I think they got to go back there and stick to the script offensively with running back Caden Fagan as well as quarterback Luke Altmaier. But defensively, what are we going to see out of the Illini? I like outside linebacker Gabe Jacobs, but it can't just be him. It's got to be 11 guys if they're going to try to go out there and slow down this USC offense. I think USC has a different feel to them this year. And because of that, I'm going to take the Trojans on the road in this one by the score of 38-27. Now, you've got the 22nd ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish traveling to take on Arkansas. And for Notre Dame, they come into this game favored by 4.5, and they're looking to make it 2 wins in a row after they dropped their first 2 games of the season. Now, the Irish get off the bus running the football, and you can expect a heavy dose of running backs Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love in this one. And with each game, in my opinion, quarterback C.J. Carr, he's only a redshirt freshman. He's looking and getting more comfortable in the pocket. Now, the big question right now has been, where is the Notre Dame defense? They gave up more than 30 points to Purdue last week. Actually, 30 points exactly to Purdue, and that was on the heels of giving up 41 to A&M in their second game. Now, Notre Dame still has their struggles on defense, and that's not good for them going into this game with this Arkansas squad. Like I've said before, quarterback Taylon Green, in my opinion, is one of the better dual threat quarterbacks in the nation. The Fighting Irish are going to have their hands full in this one, not just with him, but also with running back Mike Washington Jr. and wide receiver Omega Blake. There's talent on Sam Pittman's Arkansas defense with the likes of Quincy Rhodes as well as linebacker Xavier Sori. This Notre Dame team can score points, but they've got to find a way to slow people down. It's going to be a darn good game right here. I like the Fighting Irish, though, on the road by the score of 34-30. Another Big Ten showdown as you have top-ranked Ohio State making the trek west to Seattle to take on Washington. The Buckeyes come into this game favored by 7.5 points. You just have to wonder if they're going to keep on rolling. Julian, you know what I'm saying, at quarterback, is getting it done in a big way. Running backs Bo Jackson, no, not that Bo Jackson, but the younger Bo Jackson, not related to him, coming out of that backfield for Ohio State, as well as C.J. Donaldson. And what can you say about wide receiver U as it continues for Ohio State with the likes of Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate? This stingy Buckeyes defense, already 7 sacks so far. I like them to try to get after and slow down this Washington offense in this one. First big test for the Huskies of the season and their quarterback, Damon Williams. Can they get running back Jonah Coleman going? And then you still got a talented wide receiver for Washington in Denzel Boston. But nonetheless, Ohio State is the real deal. They check all the boxes, in my opinion, as far as making another run for the national championship. And I think Ohio State goes on the road and takes care of their business Saturday, 38-20. Now, a battle of ranked teams in the Southeastern Conference, as you have 4th-ranked LSU traveling to Oxford to take on 13th-ranked Ole Miss. The Rebels come into this game favored by 1.5, and the question is going to be, which one of these undefeated teams is still going to be undefeated after 60 minutes of football on Saturday? Now, defensively, nobody has scored more than 10 points against LSU so far this season. A lot of NFL talent on Brian Kelly's defense with the likes of linebackers Devon Keys and Wes Weeks, and then 11 sacks so far for the Bayou Bengals. Quarterback Garrett Nussmeier continues to get it done. I like wide receiver Aaron Anderson going up against this Ole Miss secondary. And, of course, for Lane Kiffin, he wants to try to keep things rolling. It's going to be Trinidad Chambliss at quarterback for the Rebels in this one, and they have to establish their ground game with running back Kawan Lacey, and of course, a lot of talent for Ole Miss at wide receiver with Harrison Wallace and Deuce Alexander. Linebackers Jaden Yates and TJ Dottery. Can they slow down this LSU offense? We've got to wait and see. Now, Ole Miss comes into this one favored by a point and a half at home, but I'm going to take Louisiana State on the road in this one, 34-24. Tyler, what is going on, my man? How are you doing? You're saying very interested for this matchup. Husky Stadium is no joke. Tough place to open Big Ten play, but if we have championship aspirations, a game we should be able to handle. Listen, it's a pleasure seeing you as always as well, my friend. I will definitely circle back to that Ohio State game. I think, like I said before, I think they check all the boxes to make another run. And I think that Texas game right there showed a lot of people that Ohio State is still Ohio State. Texas has a good team. Okay, Washington has a good team, and I think Washington, they might not make the playoff this year per se, but I think Washington is still going. They're going to be more improved than they were last year. I think now they're getting, adjusted to life in the Big Ten, and I think the Huskies are going to give Ohio State some trouble. But at the end of the day, I think the Buckeyes do pull away late. Oh yeah, no. It's all good, man. It's all good, man. But definitely, man, I think that is going to be a very intriguing matchup. Now, hang tight because I got some more Big Ten action to talk about, Tyler, in a couple of moments that I definitely know you're going to be interested in. But sticking with the SEC real quick, you've got Auburn traveling to College Station to take on ninth-ranked Texas A&M, and of course, if you're Auburn, it's been a tough couple of weeks because last Saturday you were in Norman to take on Oklahoma, lost a heartbreaker right there. Now you got to face A&M. Quarterback Jackson Darnold has been solid in Hugh Freeze's offense for the Tigers so far. He's going to have to come up big on the road against A&M. I like running back Jeremiah Cobb as well as wide receiver Cam Coleman. And then so far for this Auburn defense, they've got 12 sacks in the season. Can they slow down this A&M offense? We've got to wait and see. Now, the Aggies had themselves a bye after they went on the road and beat Notre Dame, so they're well rested coming into this one. I like the talent that A&M has on offense around quarterback Marcel Reed with the likes of running back Le'Veon Moss as well as wide receivers Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take A&M at home by the score of 31-23. Now, Tyler, this is what I was talking about here for you, my man. Another battle that I wanted to talk about in the Big Ten. We've got 11th ranked Indiana traveling to Iowa City to take on Iowa. And surprisingly, okay, and this lets you know how much that Vegas thinks of this Indiana team right now. They're going into Iowa City favored by 8.5 points on the Hawkeyes. That's big. Kurt Cignetti's Hoosiers so far have checked all the boxes. I was skeptical at first due to the fact that they played some cupcakes. But after what we just saw them do to the Illini last Saturday, I think, you know what, we definitely have to pay attention to these Hoosiers. Got themselves another transfer quarterback in Fernando Mendoza, no problem. Running backs Kalen Block and Roman Hemby, you know what, they complement each other and they keep moving the football down the field. 15 sacks so far for this Indiana defense, and that's going to be important because why? When you think about Iowa, and Tyler, I know you've been watching Big Ten football for a long time, my man. You got to keep them in second and long and third and long in regards to that Iowa defense. Why? Because the forward pass continues to be a problem for this Hawkeye offense. They're going to try to run the football and run the football with the likes of Xavier Williams, and then they're going to play solid defense with the likes of linebacker Jaden Harrell and, of course, Max Llewellyn. But at the end of the day, Indiana's favored by 8.5. I like them by 10 in this one, 27-17. Excuse me. But just hang tight for a couple of moments because I want to circle back to a big one in the Big Ten for you. But before we get there, you're saying don't see teams favored by that much in Iowa unless they're legit. Yeah, it should be a fun game, strength on strength. Well, definitely when you face Iowa and Kurt Ferentz, you're going to have to pack a lunch, especially when you try to go on the road and get the victory there. So last week, clearly Indiana passed the test at home. Let's see what they do this Saturday as they travel to Iowa City. Now, going back to the SEC, we've got 15th ranked Tennessee traveling to Starkville to take on Mississippi State. Tennessee's another big one. They come into this game favored by 7.5 points, and of course, they've had some time to digest that heartbreaking loss to Georgia. We saw them bounce back on the road at home last week against UAB. Tennessee on the Josh Heupel, they're going to score points regardless of who the quarterback is. You've got Joey Aguilar at quarterback. You've got running back Star Thomas. I like Chris Brazell at wide receiver, and then this volunteer defense, 15 sacks so far, and linebacker Arian Carter is the real deal. Tennessee's going to have to be ready because Mississippi State is a very improved team so far this season. The former Baylor quarterback Blake Shapen is there. Running back Fluff Bothwell can get it done, and wide receiver Brennan Thompson. The Vols are favored by 7.5, but I like them by 6 in this one, 30-24. Now, just before I go back to the Big Ten, Tyler, I'm going to the Big 12 here for a moment, as we've got Arizona traveling to Ames to take on 14th ranked Iowa State. And the Cyclones come into this contest favored by 5.5 points at home. They're going to have to pack a lunch if they want to get past Arizona. The Wildcats are looking to remain undefeated as conference play is set to begin. You've got veteran quarterback Noah Fafita, and Arizona just continues to find wide receivers. Last year it was Tetaroa McMillan. This year it's Javen Watley, and you got to keep an eye out for running back Ishmael Mahdi. For the Cyclones, they had a bye week last week. Let's see what they can do this week at home against a very good Arizona team. I think Rocco Beck and company are going to find a way to squeak it out, but they're going to have to work for it. I like the Cyclones by the score of 27-23. Here's one I definitely know you'll be interested in, Tyler. We've got 6th-ranked Oregon on Saturday night, traveling to Happy Valley to take on 3rd-ranked Penn State. The Nittany Lions come into this game favored by 3.5 points. Two teams that have aspirations on winning the Big Ten. Two teams that have aspirations on getting to the college football. And, of course, two teams that have aspirations in winning it all. And, of course, this is the rematch of last year's Big Ten championship game. You're saying, fear not, my man, you love all college football. Right on. That's what I want to hear. But getting back to this game right here, of course, when you think about Penn State, and you think about Penn State under head coach James Franklin, what is the same narrative? The Nittany Lions cannot get it done against teams ranked in the top 10. And of course, as great as things have been for Penn State, we've seen them consistently be a top 10 program, consistently see them send guys to the National Football League. But they've got to find a way to get it done against this Oregon team. And Oregon is heading cross country in this one with a legit squad. They have not skipped a beat on offense with quarterback Dante Moore. Wide receiver DeCorian Moore can get it done. And then I like this Oregon defense with Bryce Botcher at linebacker and Mateo Uyunglele getting after the quarterback. I talked about it. This is another big test for James Franklin and his Nittany Lions. You've got a veteran quarterback in Drew Aller, a pair of veteran running backs in Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton. You went out there and got wide receiver Trevor Pena in the portal from Syracuse. Penn State is always going to get after you defensively. Now they have Jim Knowles, the former Ohio State defensive coordinator, calling the shots for this team, and with a guy like Amari Campbell at linebacker getting it done. But when it's all said and done, Penn State is favored at home. It's Saturday night. It's a whiteout, but I just can't get over the fact James Franklin struggles against top 10 teams. I think Oregon has what it takes to go east and get this win, and I'm going to take the Ducks 31-27. You're saying selfishly, I'll be slightly pulling for Penn State to set up as good of a matchup in Columbus down the road as possible. I'll be going, and by far, it's the biggest game I will have ever seen in the shoe. Make no mistake about it. This side of Michigan, Ohio State, you could make a very strong case that Penn State, Ohio State has been the biggest rivalry in the Big Ten in probably the last 10 years or so. Okay. It's one of those, okay, unfortunately, there's no more divisions in the Big Ten. So, of course, Penn State and Ohio State aren't going to face each other each year, which I think is a shame because it has become one of the better rivalries in that league. But I'll tell you like this, if you're picking a game to go to this season at the Horseshoe, that might be the one right there, my man. And finally, capping things off in the SEC. We've got 17th ranked Alabama traveling to take on 5th ranked Georgia. And the Bulldogs come into this game favored by 2.5 points at home. And of course, when you hear Georgia, Alabama, you always know that it's a big game, whether it's regular season or SEC championship game or national championship game. Okay, these two teams met in a thriller last year in Tuscaloosa, and let's see what they have for an encore here. Of course, a lot of the names on the back of the jerseys have changed as guys are in the NFL, but we're talking about two of the best football factories in college football. Now, after their regular season opener, the loss against Florida State, Alabama has looked a lot different. Ty Simpson at quarterback is locked in. I like what this offense is getting done with, of course, with their wide receivers, Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams. And of course, Ryan Williams gave this Georgia secondary fits all game long last year. Now, Deontay Lawson and this Crimson Tide defense, what are they going to be able to do against Tennessee's offense? Against Georgia's offense, because we just saw the Bulldogs put up 40 plus points on Tennessee on the road a couple of weeks ago. Both of these teams had a bye last week to get ready for this game, which is going to be huge. Can this Crimson Tide defense get to Georgia quarterback Gunnar Stockton? When you think about the Bulldogs under Kirby Smart, you think about their ability to run the football. So it's going to be on that front seven of this Alabama defense to try to slow down running back Nate Frazier. And of course, when you think about Georgia, you think about their defense, and they got some good linebackers once again this year with Raylan Wilson and C.J. Allen. The Bulldogs come into this game favored by 2.5 points. The over-under is 53.5. I think this is going to be a darn good game, folks. But I like Georgia at home in this one, 30-24. So this is going to be a fun-filled Saturday, and I know that hardcore college football fans have probably been circling this one on their calendar probably since the spring, okay, or maybe even probably sooner, probably after the end of last college football season. But I think this one is going to be worth the price of admission and then some. Sometimes you see games, and you know what, or Saturday schedules, and some of the big games are only at 3:30. Some of the big games, or the real big games, are at 8 o'clock. It's big games all day long. There's also some big ones tomorrow night as well. I think that Florida State Virginia game is going to be a doozy, as will be the TCU Arizona State matchup tomorrow night as well. And then, I mean, basically, unless you're getting up to use the bathroom or go get a snack or a sandwich or something like that, you're probably going to be sitting in your favorite chair and glued to the television Saturday, because it's good matchups all afternoon long, and of course it carries over into the evening. You're saying, what a slate of game. Here's to another great week of CFP. Great talking to you, Tyler, my man. As always, man, definitely a pleasure. I know that you rep Ohio, and speaking of Ohio and speaking of football, bad break for the Bengals, my man. Now they got to face the Broncos on Monday night in Denver. So good luck with that one. But yeah, folks, those are my key games for this weekend in the world of college football. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw on this podcast, you know what to do. Just hit that like button, as well as subscribing to this channel, especially the subscribing part. Why? Because this needs 7 more to get to that magical number of 1,000. Also, folks, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 pounds of sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, I will give you that follow in return. And the same goes for Instagram, where you can check me out at 300 pounds of sports knowledge. And then also, if you're on Facebook, look us up at the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. Tyler, as always, good rapping with you. Definitely appreciate the comments. And I hope, for your sake, that your Buckeyes take care of business Saturday out in Seattle against the Huskies. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.